Hey everyone, this is Zan, and we're going to continue our multiplayer game as Early Age Mekone. And just in case, before we start, I do want to remind everyone there is a known issue that happens when the game patches with old saves, that sometimes the battle we're going to watch might be a little bit different than what actually happened. I can get around this in the future, but for now, it is what it is. We're going to dive straight into Tirnanog attacking Yomi. I'm not certain if we've seen Tirnanog's blessing yet, so let's see. They're holding on to a basic defense +3 strength +3 heroism 105%. This is before the heroism nerf happens, but hey, it leads to some pretty good tool warriors, right? They hit hard, they got good stats, they got magic weapons by default. Some of them are a little injured, but they'll be fine. And then they're fighting Yomi right now, who just really has some province defense, but we might be able to see their bless, which is just larger. Larger is pretty good on the Dione and the Onishugo too, actually. But I've never played Yomi, so I'm not sure what would be good for them. I've played against a lot of Yomis, and it's just a lot of killing Dione thugs or super combatants, and that's not really hard to do, so it is a question on why they use it. Oh well, that'd be theory crafting for another video in the future. Ubar is raiding me here. I had bumped up the province defense a little bit, hoping that the horse tribe would do good. But I guess in an archer duel, the desert warriors might have the advantage. Oh, but it looks like we routed their commander, so maybe not. Is that what happened in real life? Yeah. So in real life, I think they shot my commander. I even had an extra one and it didn't work out. Same thing, Chernonog wins against this every time, 100%. We see Ubar attacking Ermor in Assad with Kiparases, the Polemarch, the traitor Polemarch, leading a bunch of Jin. Bastard. And he's going to beat up our Ermorian allies. I mean, it's just a bunch of slingers. Like, this is overkill. I'm pretty sure it happened that way too, yeah. So we get an Ill Omen and a mild winter in Faster, and then the arena happens, and we can go ahead and watch all of that. Again, though, things might be a little bit different. That doesn't look too exciting. All right, Saramatia against Rus. Saramatia has a Scrofula Vampire, and Rus has... I'm not going to try the Russian Chieftain. I think the Vampire takes this, but you never know, because these are... Vampires are an interesting little thing. There was a huge discussion on Lucid's Discord about these the other day, on whether they were good summons. TLDR, they're kind of whatever in combat, but they're great on the strategic map because they stealth, they fly, they're immortal. They have armor-piercing magic attacks, and they have invulnerability. So I feel like on the strategic map, they're fantastic, but tactically, they're a bit lesser than just about anything else you'd summon. But hey, that is a consideration to make on maybe you want some stealthy raiders like these guys. Some recursive stealthy raiders that can, like, fan out and take a bunch of provinces, and then right before the really big battle, just kind of reconvene, just because, their map move is so high and they're flying about. So I think that's nice for them. Yeah, he beats up the this dude because with 25 invulnerability, it's gonna be tough to die to regular troops, right? Maybe now in Dominion 6, the magic weapons are rarer. Those vampires might actually be a little bit better. I mean, in pitched battles, mages are still gonna kill them, but they'll at least tie up units, right? And as I said, the best thing they're gonna do is fight province defense. Okay, so we get a Lammashta. Lammashtas, for the same reason as everything I just said about the vampire, are very good tactical summons for death magic. To me, they're kind of like a death elemental. It's important that they have fear and invulnerability, and then they're going to flood the back lines, and they're going to do shit. The Ray Sword has life drain. It hits hard. Some things, and I've seen this before, they just auto-route as soon as the Lammashta lands next to them and says boo because of fear. I've seen that before. So they're pretty good. Obviously, there's the tiny chance. I mean, it's not tiny. It is there. There's a chance that they turn around and kill you, but like a lot of things in Dominions, if it hurts me, but it hurts them more, and I'm kind of prepared for it, I'm down to cast it. So I've totally summoned Lammashtas. And she just got burning hands by Astipolos. Freaking wrecked her shit. I don't know how it worked in real life. Oh, here we have the other Lammashta fighting the Dione. Again, apparently he just kept summoning them. Like I said, there is a chance they turn around and kill you too. But he would be more prepared for it, right? He's got high morale. He's got an enchanted Nodachi. He just needs to hit her once. Maybe twice. He got a maximum damage to hit area, so he cut her arm off. Or he didn't cut her arm off. Interesting. Well, regardless, she stuck around a little bit. And there you go. She's been cleaved. Now he's going to build up his morale again. Fear is gone. And, go fight my dude? Nope. He routes. I already know for sure that's not how this went out. In real life, my Polymorph got cut in half. But he did try. And then the final battle in the arena, the vampire has no magical armor, so I'm sure he's just going to get cut up either by the Lammashtas or by the Dione. He lost both his arms. Oh, he's going to come back armless. Oh? Does the Dione die too? That would be hilarious. No winners allowed. Anyway, so that happens, and Yomi earns the Champion's Headband, 400 gold, and 21 fire jumps. Not a bad haul. Finally, long into this video, we are on the strategic map. So, as before, we beat up a bunch of vampires in Trollland. We are leaving the Mandragora alone for now, and we are converging for an assault on Ubar. I am making sure that I attack with a lot of my scouts and little piddly commanders, because if Ubar is going to start seducing my shit, I'd rather they take a crappy commander instead of another Polemarch. And if they do get into battle with a Polemarch, oh boy, is it going to suck for them, because I've turned off their lightning magic with these Ring of Tamed Lightnings, and Polemarch versus Jinn goes very fast with the Enchanted Salt. It cannot be dodged, and it stuns the Jinn and removes their glamour crap. It's one of the reasons you can't thug with Jinns, in my opinion. At least not to an opponent who's expecting it or has access to Salt. Other than that, we're starting to site search with Minoithos. We've got a nice array of paths there that I like. I'm not sure if I'm sending people out other places to site search, but yeah, forging some alcohols just to make sure my starting research is fine. I don't show my research often because I'm honest with you guys, and I know this is super inefficient. I very often change my research almost every turn, and I know that's probably not an efficient or good way to play, but I do it. And yeah, right now I'm heading to Evocation for something. If I had to guess, it's going to be Magma Bolts. Magma Bolts will kill Jinn very good because it is not fire damage. It is a flaming rock. A magical flaming rock. So that just goes into the school of things I would like my Polemarchs to off-script. I would like them to off-script Magma Bolts. That is a good spell for them. Yeah, they have this Godslayer Spear that, you know, hits for 28 damage, but Magma Bolts, if all of them hit, that's 3 hitting for 25, or 5 Magma Bolts hitting for 25. So that's pretty good. I think that's a little bit more damage than their Spear. Obviously a lot more encumbrance, but anyways, let's go ahead and move on to turn 25. All right, rambling over, we're going to try to speed through some of these other turns. Starting with Minoithos, he's going to find some gem deposits and meteorite cliffs. Great first find. And then we have a battle in Ubar. As we jump onto their fort, we have a line of our 100 or so hoplites. We're doing our basic butts. They're going to be earth power, like temper armors, I'm pretty sure. Because I feel like they hit hard enough, but we just want a little bit more insurance that they're not going to die to random bullcrap, right? So with temper armors, they're at 27, 22. Solid. It's unlikely Ubar and humans are going to hit them in the head, but if they somehow do, they have 27 protection in their head. This definitely looks like a wash. Ubar didn't really defend, which is fair. I mean, you just kind of sit in your fort and you start seducing away, right? That's the plan. So, lossless. Pretty good. Battles in Umbro. Tirnanog fighting the Independents. Probably just pinging a throne, right? And that seems like a very easy throne to take. You probably don't want to thug this, because this guy might soul slay you, but any amount of troops can probably clear this out, right? And in Konberg, he continues fighting Yomi. We have a decent army of the Firbolg militia. Wow, this is a militia? 14 defense skill, 10 attack for a militia unit? This is surprisingly good. A bunch of succeed, or sushi? Sushi? I don't know. I've been told that this pronunciation is she, so I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of these sacreds. I want to figure out a way to make them work, but I haven't been lucky so far. We've got a few demons up here in the front. Yomi, I think, is actually pretty strong in Dominion 6 now. If you can get past the early game, if you can start getting enough demons, and if you are able to constantly fight in turmoil, I think they can do pretty good. Chaos Power gives them a lot of stats, right? Here he's only getting a +2, but he has the capacity for another +3. Pretty insane. The spell that they have, that national spell, the battlefield-wide armor spell, got changed to invulnerability. So that's actually pretty good now, instead of just Markskin, which was kind of whatever. Obviously not good at the magic buttons, but it is what it is. These little Oni guys hit like a truck, or just being a regular-sized dude, and they can hit even harder depending on the turmoil scales or the unrest. So probably a good use case to do those remote unrest-causing spells that you don't see often. Look at these little guys with their clubs bonking shit. Since they're demons, right? Yeah, you can cast blood. Yomi doesn't get blood. If you bloodlust them, they're also going to hit pretty damn hard. Well, fire attacks are good too. Jeez, 12 AP, it's like a crossbow. Fatigue only? Oh, wow. Yeah, actually, that little fire throw ability is really good then. It's like a close-range crossbow attack then. Okay, Onishigo. Look at that, 40 hit points on this guy since he got enlarged. Great stats. He's probably going to get his ass kicked by these Ancient Tua warriors, but he'll definitely put up a fight, right? Misform is going to be butts. And the Onishigo don't get fear. That's unfortunate. Well, that worked out pretty well for Yomi. I'm going to leave it a mystery on who actually won that battle, because I think that was pretty well done. I was impressed by the little Onis. So back to our little strategic map. Honestly, not much has changed. We just took out the forces on Ubar. We're going to go clean out whatever's in Orman. We're going to keep reinforcing Zoglia because I'm building a palisade and I really don't want to lose it. And then I'm going to be greedy and start recruiting some commanders in other locations. Maybe I want more palisades in the future. And I don't think I've given it attention, but I've also started site searching with the Kamazots I'm recruiting from the cave. I don't necessarily want to invest in like a whole fort down there or anything, but just a lab and like, 50 gold a turn to get a stream of Kamazots that's going to go site search everything into depth for me. I think that's going to be useful. What I'm going to do with that gems, I don't know yet. But I'm going to do something with them, and they're going to be nice to have. And at the end of the day, if I can't figure out what I'm going to do with them, I can always trade them for someone else, with someone else, and get gems that, well, I do know what to do with, like earth gems, fire gems, air gems, donate things. Let's go ahead and move on to turn 26. So, turn 26 just gives us a lot of really good sites, like game-changing sites, right? We get the Enchanted Tower, Mineral Cave, I mean the Magus Temple, so I can just recruit these little guys forever now. Holy shit, yeah, that's fantastic. Now, I preface this, I am not very much a fan of using communions, so like I don't really think I'm ever going to make a big fire earth communion with these little guys in it. But astro magic is a huge weakness for Mekone, and if I've already popped out if you're my Mekone at a glance, if you've seen it, I kind of highlighted that my goal with Mekone, as I'm messing around the early game, is figure out how I'm going to break into these sorcery paths. So here we go. So this little wasteland cave, these two little provinces are going to give me death magic, and they're going to give me astral magic. I'm going to site search the shit out of them and hope that that is enough. I think up here, I've already talked about it. These little adepts of the Golden Order are going to help even more. So yeah, we're on route right now with some pretty good astral and death. Solid. Nothing else really big is going on. Just continuing to site search where I can. So we can go ahead and move to turn 27. So turn 27 kind of greets me now with more magic sites. Hell yeah, Garden of Frozen Flowers, Desert of Bones, Cavern Tomb. So Desert of Bones is a pretty good one, and it's worth talking about. A lot of nations are really, really happy for this, and I am going to spoil in that I did underrate this Sorcerer of the Sands for Mekone itself. Essentially, what this mage is, due to these randoms, right? And I'm going to bump out of the screen. So every time they're slow to recruit, right? Yeah. Each one of these is either going to be a Fire 2, Air 2, Earth 2, or these 3 paths and a Death 1, right? Based on these randoms. That is fantastic for literally everybody. Who doesn't want those mages? Well, I initially was thinking that, well, Mekone doesn't want those mages because I get Fire 2, Earth 2, Air 2 very often already on Sacred Mages that are giants for about the same price. Where I messed up is I kind of forgot about a spell. This one here, the Hound of Twilight spell. This is pretty good. Hounds of Twilight are really good. They're just a pain in the ass to summon. And here I am, being given Sorcerer of the Sands, which is probably one of the few mages that can summon them. You get that death random, you give them Earth Boots, and bam, you just turn these death gems that I'm slowly getting because I'm finding sites, right? This Cavern Tomb. Turn these death gems into one of these little Hounds of Twilight. Yeah, that would have been smart of me to do. I end up not doing that for most of the series. Spoiler over. Nothing else really happens of note this turn. Ubar attacks Poison Plains with Kyparaces, the Polymarch. It's just a bunch of province defense. He's going to do a basic script. Earth Power Stone Skin, yep. Just bump up his protection enough that their hits don't matter. And yeah. Chop, chop, chop. So that being said, I think we can move on now to turn 28. We're going quick now. Well, continuing kind of the trend with the last few turns. Well, we're searching for magic sites, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. Getting some events, but more importantly, the fortification of Ubar is breached. We can storm. Not much else happens, so we're gonna go straight into turn 29, right? And now on turn 29, this is kind of the reason I stopped uploading so quickly, because I didn't expect things were going to go quickly, right? Or take longer. And we're going fast now, so I got a little confident. I started uploading. But we slow down in the future. Okay, we site search. We find a Starflower Garden. We'll look at that later. I don't want to spoil things, right? We have some battles, a lot of them. Our first one's going to be in Orman, as Ubar attacks me with a squad of Jinn, led by a Sahir. I don't recall if I was expecting this or not. We have a Basilius running away over here. Will he make it? He's probably site searching, right? Yeah, he makes it. Good. I don't know how good everyone else is going to do. Yeah. Invisible Jinn kick their ass. We fight in the Forest of Spring, so this is now the Mandragoras. Of course, I'm doing this the same turn. I'm going to be attacking Ubar. Mandragoras are pretty cool. Mannequins, I think they kind of suck. But Mandragoras, I'm starting to use them a little bit, not as Asphodel. These guys are pretty stellar, not as Mekone either. This isn't a spoiler. This is a future series. I think Mandragoras are pretty solid. If you have nothing else to spend your nature gems on, which is tough, right? That means you have nature gems, you don't have nature mages. These guys are pretty solid, right? Intro Duel is going to be a meanie over there, but over here we have Eurytheon the Polymarch, and he has been loaded with a bunch of magic resistance gear. Obviously, he's got his high morale from the Fire Helmet, and his main way of killing things is going to be Fire Shield. He has his trusty God Slayer Spear, but here he's casting Iron Will. And that's going to leave his magic resistance 25. Pretty freaking good. Why is it so high? Well, the kill mechanic for Mandragoras is to hit you with the Sleep Vines. Each Mandragora is going to hit you 6 times per turn, going to fatigue you out, and then once you are over 200 fatigue, every new application of fatigue is going to start doing damage to you. And yeah, that will kill you. So when you try to kill this province with your own units or thugs, whatever. Magic resistance and protection are the stats you want. Obviously, the little claw attacks, their attack skill is kind of low at 9, but you're going to get harassed down to 0 defense anyways because of the sleep vines. So these little 15 damage claw attacks will hurt you eventually as you get fatigued, because as you are fatigued, you are more susceptible to critical hits. But what ends up happening here, and this is kind of like the behind the scenes of Dominions, right? With this Fire Shield, is each of these Slipvine attacks hits you 3 times, right? And it's going to kind of go from top to bottom. Well, this first attack swinging 3 times is going to trigger Fire Shield for 12 armor piercing 3 times. And if the first one, if 36 armor piercing damage doesn't kill them by the first one, they're going to try again on the second one. Meaning it is very unlikely that while attacking into Fire Shield, the third claw attack will ever actually happen. So as long as his magic resistance is high, that is why these mannequins are unlikely to do any damage to the polemark, because they never actually get to do their claw attack. They fire off their sleep vines, and as you see, look at his fatigue. Like they are hitting him occasionally through his high magic resistance. I think, and I would need to double check eventually, that the fatigue that leads you through this damage does actually bump into your armor. So him actually having 26 protection also helps stop the fatigue. As they all die, the HP route, and I never even go to the back to kill in Torva Duel. He just disintegrates on his own. Bastard. Killed 10,000 of my population with him. Anyways, Ubar attacks me in Hysteria. Same deal, just a bunch of Jinn. I don't think I was expecting it. Yeah, I was not. Oh, the Jinn are just hanging out back here? Interesting. Looks like they still win, though. And finally, we are going to storm Ubar, right? No, he sallies out. He sallies out, and we see that Ubar was also gifted with a bunch of gnomes. I've already raved about these. We have a bunch of Jinn you can barely see, and they're all summoning elementals, these Shaitan. We also have our Trader Polomark, some Desert Raiders. Nice scenery in the background. But, you know, all the Dominions community, or Dominions game needs is a staunch line of spears, like so. And we are good. Kind of kept my mages in the back. I should have them on advanced spells eventually. The rest of the troops are going to filter through. And this is just to make sure that I don't leave all of my mages in the back. I kind of keep them in the center of the formations so that no sneaky flying Jinn come in and fight me, right? So our Polomark here in the center, or our Trader Polomark in the center, tried to hold us off on his own. Didn't quite work out. Now the Jinn are left alone here in the back. And the Shockwave is a terrifying spell that they can cast. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. All of them stunned, yeah. Shockwave is terrifying. I've honestly designed blesses sometimes. Look at that shit, man. On certain nations, there's Magma Bolts. On certain nations, I've designed my bless around the ability to cast Shockwave without worrying about friendly fire. Because even if I don't care if friendly fire happens, the AI will. So having very lightning-resistant troops with your mages that close, dead shading right there. Having the high shock resistance is going to help your mage decide that he wants to cast Shockwave. And y'all just saw, it's pretty damn effective. A large area effect, it stuns a lot of the people it hits. But ultimately, it wasn't enough because the Gigantes have a lot of hit points. We lose about 20, lose a scout, a horse tribe chief, but nothing really important, and we wipe out the Ubaran resistance, the Shaitan and the Saharas. Pretty damn good. We are storming this turn. Since he sallied out, I was planning on... I don't usually do this. I was planning on storming the fort with just a scout to see what he had. But yeah, since he walked out, I know he's dead. He just lost 11 mages. Even if I fail the storm, like, he's dead. Well, I mean, if I fail the storm, Ubar gets the capital, and I don't want that. We're going to move on to turn, where are we now? 29, so we're going to move on to turn 30, and just, that'll be the last one for today's upload. Alrighty, so on to turn 30. You see I'm expanding my arcane proving. All this has been going on in the background. I'm searching with the Canazots. I'm searching with the Magi. I lose a commander, but it is just a commander. It's not a polymarch. This is why I recruited the hordes and hordes of like shitty units, right? 3 units died, 24 were wounded marching through the scorching deserts. Oops. See a battle at Konberg. We'll actually watch this. What's going on here? It's a sorcerer, 2 sorcerers, and a demon general trying to beat up a bunch of Tuas. No, it's them retreating. What's going on there is probably TNN is storming the fort, and Yomi is just trying to get his mages out of there. So I thought Ubar was kind of dead, but that's not the case, as he's going to continue raiding me and just being a menace and a nuisance. Oh, since I routed Ubar. Wow, I did rout Ubar. Holy crap. Look at that. Valerian Swamps, we rout them. In Ormond, I'm attacking now with some other units. He did bump up the province defense. He does have some Jin back here, actually. But the fact that I've got in these hoplites, I think we're okay, right? Yeah. Hoplites didn't even do anything. That was all the horse tribe, just swarming those Jin. Okay, here's another block of hoplites. There's not much here. Lothros, he attacks me again. He does have a little squad. And I got nothing. I just have that one Basilius who is trying his best to site search and is just not allowed. Finally, as I go into Ubar itself, it is unfortunately empty. The Ubaran Pretender must have died somewhere else. His wall defense is actually pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. Like, that is a lot of free units on wall defense. That is a lot of archers. That's a lot of infantry, right? To hold you in place. Pretty impressive amount of units, actually. There's so many that they are on the stairs shooting you. Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense, but I'll take it. Oh. As our formation pushes through the breach, we're just going to go straight to the back. I like doing attack rear when I'm storming forts, because that's where the mages tend to be. Attack closest tends to get you stuck here on the walls. And yeah, this is just cleanup duty, because as we've talked before, short bows are not doing much against the Gigantes. We take Ubar. Look at that. There's 222 units as part of just their wall defense. That's honestly cool as hell. Anyways, it's about that time. The Crypteon has started. Of course, as we march into Ubar, we don't have an E4, so we're going to go and execute some Ubar and Helots. Everywhere else, declare war on the population. And start the festivities, right? We got to celebrate that Ubar has lost their capital. They do have some roving forces running around, but we'll catch them probably. Unfortunately, I had decided to build a palisade in Silvermark. I'm going to send Eurytheon, and hopefully he can defend it, but it's unlikely. The main cool thing I do want to point out for everyone is that I'm able to expand my sorceries. This is kind of like taboo, never do this, but sometimes shit just needs to get done, right? I need some nature mages, so the adepts are going to have to wait a little bit. Because look at my sorceries paths now, right? I'm at 3 glamour. This is probably from here, right? 3 glamour, 2 nature, 3 death, 6 astral. So yeah, my sorcery paths are starting to climb. They're actually sometimes better than my elemental paths. So my site searching's kind of slim, but now that the war, in theory, is over, we just got to clean up some raiders. I can go ahead and really dig into the site searching. Looking at the rest of the map, we've already seen Trinanog has taken out most of Yomi. It looks like, again, I was too slow on my Western Front to take provinces that I really should have taken. Ermor and Ulm, I'm sure, participated a lot against Ubar, as did Sourmatia, but I'm being a bad YouTuber, not building scouts to see things, so I have no idea what happened there. And now we just kind of look at where our next target would be. And who knows? I mean, for now, I figure let's just go ahead and drop our Palisades. Let's get our research up, get some cool things, maybe cast a Global War 2, and prepare for our Pretender, who should be here soon, right? It's turn 30? So, looks like on the next episode, we'll actually finally find out who is Zan's Pretender. A lot of good guesses were made. Some of you are right, some of you are wrong. Find out next time.